And welcome to Thrift Shop Biography. This is the one about Billy Ray Cyrus. Thank you for listening. Hello, Cleo.
Hello, Richard.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You all right?
Yeah, thanks. Feeling a bit achy and breaky today.
In your heart. Oh my God, this is one of those books you read and all you can sing in your head is "Achy Breaky Heart" the whole way through it. Is that what happened to you? Oh my God.
Yeah, I've been singing it ever since.
Yeah, I'm singing it now. Oh, blimey.
God damn
Good
it.
to move on to some other song.
It took like 2 decades to get it out of my head the first time.
Exactly. Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know who we're talking about, it's Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
The man who had one massive hit and a lot of other smaller songs. And an amazing daughter. That's it. He's had 2 hits, Achy Breaky Heart and Miley Cyrus.
Ah, look at that. Well, I much prefer Miley Cyrus to Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah, I know. Oh, blimey. I learned to drive to Achy Breaky Heart because my driving instructor was obsessed with it.
No.
So he was just singing it the whole time. Every lesson for like
wow, but
2 months or whatever.
That's kind of quite dangerous because it actually has the word break in it.
True. And it can drive you mad. Drive you mad!
So, was this book everything you hoped for?
Yes, I loved it. I absolutely loved it right from the start, this book, right to the end. I really love reading about country music and that whole world of Tennessee and the Appalachian Mountains and Nashville and, it's classic.
And actually a more modern take, because all the people we've read before, country people, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, they tend to be a generation before Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, they're all his heroes.
Yeah.
He was born in 1961, the exact same year as Michael J. Fox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who we've just read. So I was sort of running parallels in my mind because it's a totally different world, because you go into country music and you've just got this sort of like romantic fog over it. Like it's not quite the real world, not like New York is or something. Mm-hmm. But it's the same country at the same time. But they're just playing with fiddles and having dances and,
Did you know anything else about him before you read the book other than Achy Breaky Heart and being Miley's dad?
Apart from that, I've only just recently noticed that he started going out with Liz Hurley and therefore he's got a divorce from Miley's mum.
No. Oh, did you not know about the woman in between?
No.
Firebrand, that he met on the set of Hannah Montana?
No.
I think she's Miley's age.
But that's got to be years back. He didn't mention that.
No. This is like very, very recent.
Recent? Oh, he met her years ago and he's just had an affair with her.
No, he met her on the set of Hannah Montana because she was acting in it alongside Miley.
Yeah, but that's 20 years ago. Old.
Yeah, and he married her last year and they're already divorced and now he's going out with Liz Hurley.
Oh, right. Oh, blimey. No, didn't know about that, obviously.
But other than Achy Breaky Heart and being the dad of Miley, that's the recent Cyrus family drama is all I know of Billy Ray Cyrus. And he does not come out of it looking good.
Of this book?
Of the recent stuff.
Oh, the recent stuff, no.
No, I think in this book, the book that he wrote himself, I think he comes out absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, despite having been a total and utter tearaway youth, and possibly being a little bit nuts, but I think you've got to be, really.
Oh, okay. You know how the Dolly Parton book actually had me questioning my lack of faith and I believe she was an angel, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Billy Ray Cyrus has almost undone the good Lord Dolly's work for me. Because he tells a similar story, but I think he sounds kind of borderline unhinged.
That's what I think.
But this is my unbelieving nature. I mean, he could genuinely be hearing multiple voices in his head. What do I know?
Yeah.
But I'm very cynical when it comes to things like this, as you know.
Yes.
But it did make it a very entertaining read.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah. What a story.
Yeah.
So should we do it?
Yes, let's do it.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Otherwise known as Bo.
Bo.
They call him Bo, which is like Bo and Luke Duke. Bo and Luke Duke.
Yeah.
Do you think Bo's name was Billy as well then? Probably.
Don't know.
In the Dukes of Hazzard.
I love how he got called Billy Ray Cyrus because when he was born and the wrist where they put the name on the baby, because they hadn't named him, they put Baby Boy Cyrus on it. And his granddad came in and saw it and misread it as Billy Ray.
Yeah.
And so he said, "Oh, you've called it Billy Ray." And they're like, "No, we haven't. It says Baby Boy." And then they thought, "Oh, Billy Ray, that's a really cool name. Plus, it's the name of one of his granddads, and Ray is his dad's middle name."
Yes.
And that's how he got called Billy Ray, because his granddad couldn't read.
Yeah. Didn't have his glasses on. His dad was called Ronald Ray. Ronnie Ray. Ronnie Ray's a good name.
Ronnie Ray. And Mum is called Ruthie.
Yeah, she sounds like a character. Little Spitfire.
Sounds like an asshole.
That's quite possible, actually.
Dad's a laid-back one, isn't he?
Dad's the laid-back one, for sure. He was, all of his folks were from the mountains in southwest Virginia, and they were like the founders of America, you know, in that way that it was all railroads, steel mills, coal mines, farms, and they settled on the banks of the Sandy and Ohio rivers. You know, that's how America started. You've seen the films.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was in steel, but his dad actually started in a steel mill and eventually went back to school and served 11 terms in the House of Representatives, and he fought for social justice.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah, it's brilliant. So that was a really great role model for Billy Ray to make something of yourself.
Yeah.
Very good. And his mum was a cleaner in houses, but she brought the music.
Yeah, she could play the piano by ear and stuff, couldn't she?
Yeah, really talented. Yeah, and all of her family, like her dad played the fiddle, her uncle's on guitar. You know, they're all jamming along.
Yeah.
Listening to the Grand Ole Opry and playing along and stuff. Yeah, so between them, he had quite a good grounding, apart from the fact they split up. Argued and split up, and he carried a lot of shame from that in those days.
Yeah, right. Well, he was only about 5 years old when they split up, and I imagine it would have been rare anyway for them to divorce in the 1960s. But
yes,
because his granddad was a really well-known Pentecostal preacher, I bet that really brought shame on the family.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, his dad was in a gospel quartet as well. Southern Gospel Harmonies, and they were really good. They're called the Crownsman Quartet.
And you know what? Those singers in the quartet, a lot of them come from the steelworks,
yes,
where his dad worked. So actually, Billy Ray, who is very much, I would say, the archetypal young American man. He's very tall and strapping and macho. So he's seeing his dad sing, but also it's like these other macho steelworkers who are singing.
Oh, yes. Good point.
Yeah, so
there's no shame in music, yeah.
There's no shame in singing a bit of gospel on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't think that would even enter their minds. It's that whole rural world where there's just so much music.
Mm-hmm.
I said it's his mum who brings it. It's both sides, obviously. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
and he joined them from when he was 4.
His dad would get him on stage to sing with them. So that's what he did to Miley. By the way, there's footage online.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
I know, there's so much parallels with their childhoods. Going off the rails is one, and starting young is 2.
But do you know what's interesting about the Billy Ray Cyrus story ending up a big country singer is that he has this really good grounding in music and singing. And then probably from about the age of 7 to the age of 20 or late teens, he doesn't really do it at all.
Oh, yeah. He's really into sports.
He just becomes this young American lad. When he started doing his band, I thought, well, where's this come from? And then I remembered when I went back to do the notes, he had a really good grounding in music at the beginning of his life.
That's true, because he goes way off. And when the voice comes that says, you need to buy a guitar and start a band, son. That's how I picture the voice. You're like, well, yeah, it does seem like that's come out of the blue. But of course it hasn't. It's come from the past.
It's there. It's always been there.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He said his dad was like the Elvis of gospel. I reckon he's probably really good looking and he always had lipstick on his collar. So he got that from his dad.
Oh, that's why the mum and dad was...
Yeah.
You see, Billy Ray Cyrus says that his mum is a firebrand and she's really shouty and aggressive. But if dad is coming home with lipstick on his collar, of course she's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, it sounds like the reason they got divorced is because dad is dipping his stick around the gospel circuit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, these Christians, I'm telling you.
I know. Oh. Anyway, they had a big row. Dad left, didn't come back. Took him a while to get his head around that. His dad remarried and had 2 more kids. He had quite a lot of this sort of stuff going on. Like his mum kept having different boyfriends and they used to chase them off until there was one that stood up to them. And that remained her partner for the rest of her life. And he very quickly became a father figure to Billy Ray.
There was a custody battle for the kids, though.
Yeah.
Because Dad wanted the boys with him. And obviously Mum wasn't willing to give them up. And so little Billy Ray and his brother Kibo,
yes,
had to go to court. And of course, they wanted to go with their dad, but also they didn't want to upset their mum. I think that's really difficult when you're like 6 years.
Yeah, it's that classic thing of tearing kids apart emotionally. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's an awful thing to do to them.
So when he does kind of go off the rails, I kind of get why. He's been quite unsettled at a young age.
He has. Yeah, he really has. I mean, right, he was really good at baseball and they said you could become a pro, but he gave it up just because it was too awkward for his parents to have to stand next to each other on the bleachers.
Wow.
Whereas some other sports, they could be further apart. So he gave up baseball for that reason and wouldn't tell anyone why. That's pretty sad.
Gosh, yeah. You see, he's very sensitive.
Yeah, he is sensitive.
Yeah, he is, which I think when we come to the point where he's hearing voices, I've got
Yeah,
so much to say about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really quite an extraordinary young man.
Well, he is. I mean, look, let's face it, he's going to end up writing some classic country tunes, and the poetry of them is beautiful. I mean, a lot of the lyrics are written in this book, and I don't know the tunes that go with them. And so just as poems, they're just beautiful.
Oh.
Lovely words. And so he's a poet. So, of course, he's sensitive,
Yeah.
He's a drinking, pot-smoking, sports-playing, sensitive poet singer.
Like drinking and smoking at a young age is generally born out of being oversensitive and wanting to block the world out. And I think that's what he was doing.
Agreed, yeah.
And, he does have this sense of like community and doing right as well, even though he ends up doing wrong. Because at the age of 14, a developer came in and started bulldozing some of the forest near where they lived in the mountains. And at night, 14-year-old Billy Ray would go out and put soil in the fuel tanks of the diggers and stuff to basically fuck it all up.
That's sensitive vandalism.
Yeah.
He is a contradiction, isn't he? Let's face it. He said he loved getting into trouble, but a large part of it was to get them to chase you. He loved having the police chase them, and then escape. That was the thrill. And he was really into streaking. Yeah, general petty vandalism, throwing eggs at things was his favourite hobby. Shoplifting. Loads of stuff he did.
It's all low-level teenage jinx, isn't it?
It is really, yeah. Plus, he was stoned all the time.
I know that like no crime is victimless. Of course, a person who's splattered with eggs has to clean it off.
Yeah, but you don't think about that.
No, you don't think that. And actually, he does say that when he was 14, he says many kids that age start experimenting with alcohol and marijuana. Only I didn't experiment. I just went straight for it.
Yeah, right. I really like it actually because he's in the Appalachian Mountains and he's really stoned with Kentucky homegrown skunk. Flatwoods, Kentucky, this is all set, by the way. And he's out there, they've gone out on bikes to the mountains and they're looking at all the millions of stars and there's deers, the trails, and it's absolutely beautiful and they get busted. That's a really great way to spend your teenage youth, if you ask me. If you're going to get stoned, like go and appreciate the world in all its beauty. That's brilliant. But they're doing that and then they get busted.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but they make him write a 5,000-word essay on the evils of marijuana. So he researches it really well. And he finds out that the most fertile land to grow skunk is in Kentucky. He actually gets the knowledge. And he suggests in this essay that if the government actually taxed marijuana, then they'd get a lot of money and they could maybe use it to pave roads and do useful things. And this actually got some applause from the high courts. But this is great because this is actually what they're doing in America now, making it legal and taxing it. He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was. And I think when they got him to write the essay, I don't think that's what they were expecting him to write about. I think they wanted him to write about, I'm really sorry, it's terrible and I'll never do it again.
Yeah,
but his argument was just so well constructed. They were like, oh, okay, the kid has a point.
Yes. I've got, I was thinking, I wonder if he won't touch it again, and he's absolutely wrecked in every single scene following this, isn't he?
Yeah.
I tell you what, he's crap at being a troublesome kid because he gets busted all the time.
Oh, all the time. I know.
And because then he got in trouble for that, he went and egged the principal's house, got busted. Right, I tell you what, he's Bart Simpson. He's Bart Simpson, stoned.
Yeah.
Egging the principal's house and getting busted. That is just Bart Simpson.
Yeah. But do you know what? When he doesn't get busted by the authorities, he actually gets busted by his own head, by the word of God, who he hears in his head as a voice.
Yes!
So he doesn't get away with anything. Like if the police aren't literally catching him, Jesus catches him and
That's
tells
true.
him off. Because he said that he stole a picture of Jesus, a 3D picture of Jesus for his...
A 3D. No, I was thinking, it's one of those where you move it round.
A lenticular.
You know those ones.
A lenticular Jesus. Yeah.
Really, really tacky.
And he stole it for his grandma's birthday.
From a shopping mall.
And then he said that he was out in his car and he had I don't know, he skidded or something and he rolled over and over down the hill. And he said as he come to a rest, he just heard this voice saying, now we're even. And he said, he's dazed, obviously, because he's just come off the road. And he said, well, there's no one else there. And then he thought, well, that was weird. And then as he settles down, he says he hears the voice again. And it says, if you ever steal again, I'll have to take your life. For now, we're even. And he's like, oh, who is this voice?
Oh, who is this voice? I'm stoned out of my brain. Who is this voice? It must be God.
It must be God.
It can't be my voice in my head.
I really get, because he hears voices a lot, and I'm kind of thinking it's his own internal monologue, obviously, telling himself off.
I do too, because he's really stoned. If he wasn't stoned, I would still think that.
But also, why would you think that the voice, it says, if you ever steal again, I'll have to take your life. Why do you think that God would kill you if you stole a lenticular picture of Jesus?
Yeah, I know.
It's a bit extreme.
Yeah, he's supposed to forgive. You haven't done your research properly.
But the God in his head, it kills people for shoplifting.
But yeah, he's pretty mean. That's mean God. That's more like the devil talking.
Do you know what? This is a Pentecostal Christian. His dad was I would like to know what kind of preacher his granddad was. I bet he was terrifying.
Exactly. Can you imagine you've been brought up as a kid with all these people going, and the Lord will strike you down, and, you've got all this stuff in your head and it's the foundation of your thinking.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff you've heard all the time. So, yeah, of course you're a bit messed up with these things.
Do you know what this book made me realise is? Because I thought about that little boy in that church with his granddad, preaching. And then I thought he obviously has this internal monologue that goes over and over. In church, when you're young, nobody tells you have an internal monologue, But people in church say that's the voice of God and God will speak to you.
Right.
So actually, when you're just talking to yourself, then you actually think, oh, my God, this is God. Oh, my God.
Yes.
This is God talking to me. It's not. It's yourself.
Yeah.
It's your thoughts. But if from the age of birth you have somebody telling you the voice of God, you're connected to God, I totally get why Billy Ray Cyrus thinks that his internal monologue is actually the voice of God.
Yeah, me too. And also, that's just our opinion.
No, it's not my opinion. I think it's a very well-reasoned interpretation of the given facts. And it makes me realise that lots of other people who go to church and are brought up in the church, they're so justified by the word of the Bible in things like homophobia and misogyny and stuff. And they have those thoughts in their head and they are therefore confirmed because they think that's God telling them those things and therefore they're right.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, it's a very, very dangerous if you believe the voice in your head. Yeah. If it's for good, like buy a guitar, then it's okay. But if it's like shoot so-and-so, because, then that's very bad to follow that voice.
Well, that does happen, doesn't it?
Yes.
People do shoot people because, they think God has told them to. When really it's just their own head.
The voice in their head told them
But they think
so.
it's a higher being that's told them to go and shoot somebody or multiple people. Whether it's God or Satan or anything, or Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, exactly. Look, loads of weird things happen to him. But to be fair, loads of weird things just happen in this life. Stuff happens to me all the time. I go, oh, how weird is that? Oh, what a weird coincidence. Oh, and I don't take it as God, but I could easily see that it would be great to have an explanation for all the weird things, but there isn't one. It's just coincidence.
Definitely. And I also think as well, when you're writing your autobiography, if you're looking back over your life and you think, oh, this happened now, oh, they all link together. Well, this will make a good story, actually, to kind of tell people the story of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I'm really tried not to be cynical reading it, because
Me too.
So I haven't been. I'm accepting him at his word.
Yes, and I believe that he believed every single thing that happened to him was all sent by God. He believed that. And how could you not with that background? How could you think anything else?
Yeah.
It all makes sense. There's loads of things that happened to him, right? Little stories like he actually thinks this girlfriend saved him because she took him to be baptised after that voice in the head in that car crash. He thinks that's a sort of turning point. And at that point, his best mate, Robbie Tooley, was his absolute best mate. He carried on the wrong path, got into harder drugs and eventually killed himself, which obviously devastated him. And he actually has a bit about suicide and please look up these charities and don't let this happen to you. It obviously really, really traumatised him that his mate had gone that way. And that had really sort of set him on a better path eventually.
Of course. Well, it kind of would, because they were best friends.
Yeah,
then
really best friends.
Billy Ray almost got saved by Jesus, right? But he watched his friend continue with the life that he had, and ultimately he came undone.
And not be saved, yeah.
Oh, God, that's just devastating, yeah. Which then, of course, doubly confirms that Billy Ray Cyrus did the right thing by going into the arms of Jesus, so you would double down and stay there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. He does actually write, I heard the voice of God saying, blah, 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 and then Susie said to me, you need to stop smoking dope. She says it straight after. So I do link them together. So does Susie. But anyway, he actually went to university, he went to Moorhead University. He found an abandoned puppy on the side of the road.
Oh, I hate this.
And he nursed it back to health and it was all scared and stuff. And he got it to the point where it was a lovely, happy, trusting dog, and a day before he was going to take it from his dorm room to his mother's to give it to her, he got back and they'd taken it away and killed it because it is against the rules to have a dog in your room. They killed it. And he was like, why would you kill my puppy? And they said, rules are rules.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have pets here.
Yeah, I felt every bit of anger. It's like, give it away, don't bloody kill it. So he went and trashed the Dean's lawn that night, got really drunk and then drove his car all over the Dean's lawn. And that was the end of that university. But that's nothing compared to what he should have done.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally support him in
Not
this.
cool,
Yeah.
Moorhead University.
Yeah.
Not cool.
But do you know what? That got Billy Ray away on another path.
Yeah, it did.
Because he was like a star football player at this point. That's the thing, you see, for like the last 10 years from being a young boy to like an older teenager, there's no word of music. He's very, very sporty. He's gone from baseball to American football and he's very, very good.
Yeah, that's really true. And it's right when he was doing really well at baseball that he heard the voice that said, buy a guitar and start a band.
That's weird. Yeah, that just came out of the absolute blue.
It's his subconscious. So he goes, but that's mad, God. I can't even play a guitar.
Yeah.
Then he actually couldn't play a guitar. And he'd never been good at it. But then he realised there's such a thing as a left-handed guitar because he's left-handed and that's why he never got good at guitar. So he actually managed to track down a left-handed guitar, picked it up and just basically, he's a natural because of his background, like you say. So he just got going really fast on the guitar and he's off. A Fender guitar he got.
Yeah, isn't that something? It just clicked. He was just holding it around the wrong way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I love that, actually. I wonder if that's why music went off the boil when he was young, because he had such difficulty playing the guitar.
It could be, because he's left-handed, yeah.
And it didn't occur to anyone that he was left-handed. And then 10 years, 15 years later, when he actually picked up a guitar again, realised he was left-handed, and he was well away.
He also heard another voice in his head that very clearly said, phone the radio station and you will win Neil Diamond tickets.
Yeah.
God is so knowledgeable about what's going on down there, isn't he? Phone the radio station, you will be the 8th caller, son. Oh, my God. So, but he did, and he did win him, and he went, and that changed his life. That Neil Diamond gig also shaped him.
Because Neil Diamond said from the stage, I don't care if you're white or black, rich or poor, man or a woman, he said, you can reach your dreams if you believe in the power of love and all that, So he's basically preaching from the stage. And then because God had told him to enter the competition that won the tickets for Neil Diamond, Billy Ray Cyrus thinks he was there at that time to hear Neil Diamond say those things. And that just confirmed him that he had to go and get a guitar. And that everything was falling into place.
Yeah.
So Neil Diamond basically was just confirming Billy Ray Cyrus's own internal monologue and what he would. Yeah, I kind of get how it's all piecing together.
Yeah, I do, but I have the same weird things in my life as well. All life is weird.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning, there are certain times in your life and my life, I can think of a couple where I thought about things and they came true.
Well, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. But my voice talks to myself all day, every day. It would be weird if none of them came true. So the fact that some of them come true is just coincidence because there's a lot of them. Some of them are going to come true. And I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
But he has faith and he's been brought up in the church and he has the voice of God in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is from this point, I mean, he sort of puts a band together. It's 1982. And he puts a band together, Sly Dog. It takes almost 10 years for him to get anywhere. 10 years. And he's determined that by the time he's 23, he's going to be blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't happen at all. It doesn't happen till he's about 30 or something.
Yeah, which is quite late, really.
It is late.
I don't think it's so late in country, to be honest. But I think in pop and that it would be late.
Yeah.
But do you know what as well? He has this belief at the age of in his early 20s that he's giving everything up to pursue a career in music. But actually what he does, he's always working. He's always driving a forklift or selling cars and stuff. A lot of the time we read these books and once people become single-minded in their ambition, it's all they do. It's like they throw themselves into it. But actually Billy Ray Cyrus has come from a poor family in the Appalachian Mountains. He doesn't have the luxury actually of just being able to pursue music as a living. He's supporting himself all the way through. And I wonder if it takes longer for him because he is having to go to work all day. And you know what happens when you go to work all day? You get tired. Or he goes and plays in bars at night. So, so he doesn't have the luxury of just single-mindedly pursuing it. He does have to still earn a living. And he does. He's a hard worker, But
also he's partying his ass off. He says it. And he actually says, I think if I wasn't drinking and smoking and everything so much, I would have been able to focus more on the business side of things. But they were partying so much. Yeah, they were partying. And when he didn't have girlfriends, or even when he did, he was just really focused on pulling all of the beautiful women in the audience. And yeah, he was living it up. The band sort of, over the next 9 odd years, the various formations of the band got so good. They got residencies in bars and clubs. They got the place hopping, and he said he's tearing it up on stage. He's sweating. He dressed like a bad boy. He'd have ripped T-shirts and black leather, and he'd look amazing because he's a very good-looking man.
Oh, do you know what? He's a very good-looking man, and I actually think there's a couple of key points in this story where he does well because he's exceptionally good looking.
Definitely.
And do you know what? I never really noticed so much before. He just looks like a rugged American man to me. That's the picture I have in my head. And then later on, when he gets an acting job, I thought, I didn't know he acted. I went onto YouTube and watched a clip and I thought, by God, 40-year-old Billy Ray Cyrus is exceptionally handsome.
He is. Yeah, it's slightly better when he doesn't have a mullet.
No, definitely. Yeah, no, that's why I said when he was 40 years old. He lost some mullet when he was 40.
Yeah, he all started becoming limp, long hair, and he looks great. And he's always got a tan because he's always outside riding his horses. They bought a big farm outside Nashville early on, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, we're sort of skipping over 10 years where he...
Oh, no, I just wanted to say how good looking he was, but we can go back to where he's a gigging musician and doing very well. And, of course, getting better and learning and becoming a showman,
Yes, exactly. Regular gigs at certain places where they just fill the place and people come from miles around to see their gigs. Yeah, and then they do something like support Richard Marx one night. Yeah. And the next night, the place is packed. because they've just had 10,000 Richard Marx fans see them and stuff. They supported George Jones.
And REO Speedwagon.
Actually, the bands they supported, it's amazing. And Dr. Herc. And...
So that does tell us at a certain point, after playing dive bars for 10 years, that band is actually very good. You know, Richard Marx isn't going to have some local band of hoodlums supporting him. They're going to be a good band.
Very good.
And they are.
Really tight band. It's a lot of covers, but they mixed it up a bit. And they had a gig at one point where it was all disco, and they had to come on and please the disco crowd, and they managed to do it. You know, if you can win people over who aren't even into your music. So it was like country rock and a little bit pop.
Yeah.
So they weren't just a twanging country band. I mean, I think that's why he came into a lot of criticism later, because you couldn't quite pigeonhole him. So, you know, all the country people are like, this isn't proper country.
Yeah, and he actually went to Los Angeles at some point. So he's with Sly Dog with the band. And I think his brother is in the band and he's causing trouble, and it kind of disintegrates a bit. And then Billy Ray Cyrus is like, well, I somehow seem to be pigeoned as a country singer, but actually it's rock. I want to go towards rock. So he actually goes all the way to Los Angeles to try and make it as a rock singer.
Yes.
And then when they're there, when he's there being rock, they're saying to him, actually, you're too country for rock. So he is really caught between these two worlds of music. So when he's in Los Angeles selling cars for a living, and he's met this woman and they're living together, but then the little dive bar that he used to play with the band in actually burnt down. Sorry, we've forgotten to say that. And then the guy who had it rebuilt it and did a grand reopening. And he said to Billy Ray, will you come back for the grand reopening of the bar? And he's like, sure, that sounds like fun. So he went back, reunited with the band and played, and he had such a good time that he actually stayed, even though he had this new life in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which actually was a bit devoid of music, because he settled down with this woman and he was selling cars.
He was selling cars.
All the way back home.
And just playing open mic nights. You know, he went home, he got paid. They brought the house down, and he said, I felt like a big fish in a small pond again. And I like that feeling. And as soon as he was back, he's like, LA seems like a nightmare immediately. I can understand that. And he got that girlfriend back and showed her around, and it's like they drove around Gatlinburg, and it's beautiful mountains and the whole way of life. It's completely not LA, which is just concrete and driving everywhere and all that crap. You can imagine. You just go back and go, oh my God, I can breathe again.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
So he stays back at home and says goodbye to this girl that he was living with. Anyway, he's not back in Appalachia for that long when another beautiful blonde called Cindy comes in and watches him play. Of course, he's so there for the ladies, isn't he?
Yeah, totally. He marries her because they just get carried away.
Within 3 months of meeting, he marries her, and everybody's like, oh, don't do it, you're an idiot. But they do.
Nothing much came of that, because she was okay with him seeing other women. So he said it caused a lot of hurt, and it was a lot of gold for writing songs. You know?
Yeah, but didn't the other women get really jealous? And one night, some of the fans got Billy Ray Cyrus some flaming sambucas, but with the intention of setting Cindy's hair on fire, which they actually did.
Yes.
So Cindy didn't go to the club anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually, that also tells us that the women are rabid for Billy Ray in these clubs.
Yeah, it does. Yes, yes.
So he is big.
Yeah.
He's Elvis to these people in this small town.
He is Elvis. Yeah, of course he is. They all want him. And the fact is, they might well get him.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But then, so Del Reeves is a country legend. And his daughter is Kerry Reeves. And she really knew music. And she saw his talent and charisma and said, I'm going to make something of you. I'm going to sell you to my dad. And they had an affair.
Of course he did.
Only about a year after he married Cindy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Del Reeves did sign him. So
this is where I think him being very good looking actually really helps.
Yes.
But Carrie Reeves obviously sees Billy Ray and says, oh, I'll have some of that. My dad's got a publishing office. But the thing is that Billy Ray can back it up. Once his good looks get him in the door, he can back it up by taking his guitar in and singing his own written songs, you know.
He wrote this song called Some Gave All, which was about veterans. All gave some, but some gave all. It is beautiful poetry, actually. I did have a listen. The poetry's better than the song, I think.
Yeah, but that's just because the production of the song isn't your type of thing. I know exactly what you mean.
That's true. That's true. It is a little bit cheesy sounding. It's not country enough almost, but I guess that's the classic slack that he's had all his life.
Yeah.
But it's really, really great words and great sentiment, and it obviously means a lot to a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that became a bit of his sort of greatest song, really, except that he couldn't give it away at one point. He tried to give it to Charlie Daniels and gave it to his manager and never even got to him. So it's lucky, really, because that's remained his song. But he does talk so much about all the time, regularly. He'd go to Nashville and knock on all the doors. He couldn't even get in the doors ever, year in, year out. He never gave up, and no one let him in at all. Same with LA Capitol Records. He couldn't even get in the door. And it's years and years of trying, you know.
I think that's the difference. You know, at the beginning, I said that we've read Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, and Johnny Cash. I think back in that generation, you could rock up to a recording studio or a publishing office and knock on the door and say, hey, here I am with my guitar. I think by the time Nashville become a multi-million worldwide known thing, I think they were probably inundated with people knocking on the doors, and they had to have a policy of like, we're not going to see anyone. And I think that's a difference. But it didn't stop Billy Ray. He was doing the rounds.
Yeah, he really was, over and over whilst playing and everything. Because he wrote a song called Cashville, because he said he'd meet people that go, if you pay me 10 grand, I'll get you this, I'll get you that. But now another 20 grand and I'll record this for you. And it's just all nonsense.
Yeah.
Because he did get someone to give him 10 grand at one point and made some records, and he couldn't get them played. And, you know, so they just sold them at gigs. And it's a real slog. He really slogged it out for a good 9 years before he got anywhere.
Oh, he put the work in. He absolutely put the work in.
He really did.
And then when it does happen, it kind of does happen quite quickly.
So 1991.
But there's that thing about being an overnight success. People think, oh, where has he come from? Oh, he's actually slogged it away on the dive bar circuit for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, just jumping a little bit, he got signed to Mercury Records.
Yeah, it was his real last chance saloon. He said, I'm giving this up. It always happens when they're about to give it up. In fact, you know, when he was a car salesman, 2 months, he couldn't sell a single car. The bloke went, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. If you just serve out the week, I love you, but you just can't do it. And he said, fine. He had never sold a single car. That last week when he was sacked, he sold multiple cars every day. And one day he sold 8 cars in a day because the pressure was off.
Yeah.
You know, and then they kept him on and he just made loads of money. So maybe it's this. He went, this is my last chance. I'm just going to make them listen to me for 5 minutes at Mercury Records. And if they don't like it, I'm giving up. So maybe that was the bit. He'd sacked himself and he went in, played Some Gave All, and they said, yeah, we'll sign you.
Yeah.
Maybe he literally had to give up to get
so
signed.
So they signed him on the strength of Some Gave All, right?
Yeah.
And it is a real anthem. And they say at this time, in the early 90s, a Gulf War is going on. So lots of people can really relate to the notion, you know, all give some, but some gave all. You know, the people who gave their lives to war and stuff.
Yes, yes.
But what's interesting about that is that even though that's a song that got him the Mercury deal, and Billy Ray Cyrus is like, great, you have to get this out now because the war is going on.
Yeah.
And like people are dying to hear it and it's going to become the national anthem. They don't release it.
Yeah, right.
They release another song. In fact, they record the whole album. And they think, oh, we just need one more track. What song would it be? Achy Breaky Heart, of course. And then that just takes over his life.
Yeah, it's the only one not written by him. He didn't even write it. They say, we got this song by Don Von Tress. And he heard it and went, I'm having that. I am having that. That's a hit. Give me that song. And they worked on it, like recorded it the next day or whatever. But it's the only one he didn't write.
And as well, I think it kind of really derailed. I mean, it made him a massive star. Let's not, you know, gloss over that. But it kind of, he was, up till this point, a real thoughtful singer-songwriter.
It's genuine.
And like you say, the poetry of his lyrics and stuff, and he's written this anthem, and all of a sudden,
yes,
his whole life is consumed by Achy Breaky Heart. And I think it is misrepresentative of the artist that he is.
Yeah, it clearly
but
is.
But it made him who he is. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just occurred to me, I bet him just with the guitar singing Some Gave All, which he could bring people to tears. I bet I'd love that more than I do the finished, polished single. I bet if you just see him live, it would be absolutely amazing. I bet that's where his magic is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just hypothesising. Oh, I might go and see him one day if he tours by. Now I've read this book.
Oh, by the way, at this time is when he met a stunning blonde model called Letitia Finley. I was wondering when she was going to come into it because I knew Miley's mum was called Tish.
Did
and
you?
All the way through, I'm reading this book. Oh, here's Lynn. Here's Cindy.
Right.
Here's Susie.
All the time.
I mean, when the hell is Tish going to come into it?
All the time, because I didn't know. I was going, is this a Miley's mum? Is this Miley's mum?
No, she's at the end of a very long line. Well, actually, she's not at the end. She's in the middle.
She's
of
in
a
the
very
middle.
long line of women.
Yeah.
So they got together just at the beginning of his massive worldwide fame. Oh, but actually, he met her before Cindy filed for divorce. But you know what he did? Billy Ray gave Cindy half of the share of the royalties of the songs he wrote for Some Gave All. My word, that sold by the truckload. She didn't write the songs.
He gave her co-writing credits on loads of the songs that she just inspired, which is amazing. I wonder if he regrets that.
I think, well, do you know what? It's his own doing because I think he did it out of guilt because he treated her so badly.
Yes, probably.
So
yeah, it's probably guilt, yeah.
It's a form of alimony, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like giving someone a diamond necklace every time you cheat, but he didn't have the money at the time, so he just gave her co-writing credits.
Gosh, she cleaned up, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Wow.
Anyway, Achy Breaky Heart came out in 1992, which must be the year I was learning to drive. And it was the best country sales since Dolly and Kenny's Islands in the Stream. That's amazing.
It is amazing because Dolly and Kenny were absolutely huge established stars at that time, and that duet was a massive thing.
Yeah.
Billy Ray Cyrus is an unknown quantity. This is his first song, and his song is that big.
Yeah.
That's really an achievement.
And the album, it says, was the biggest selling debut album by a male artist ever.
20 million copies worldwide.
Yeah, and it's all because of that one song.
17 consecutive weeks at number one on the album charts. I mean, this isn't just popular. This is like unprecedented.
Huge.
And do you know what else happened recently? Not recently, about 5 years ago. He was on that song, Old Town Road, by Lil Nas X.
Oh, really?
And that was number one single in the Billboard charts for 19 consecutive weeks.
Blimey.
And that's only about 5 years ago. So Billy Ray Cyrus has really seemed to have broken some chart records at the beginning of his career.
Wow.
And even like recently. Just like now, if you'd have thought about it, like when we found this book and we were about to read it, I kind of thought, oh, it'd be interesting to find out about him. I didn't realise how massive he was.
Yeah, me neither. It's just the way it is for us. It's just the one song. I mean, look, Britain doesn't really embrace country music. We don't have country music radio. You know, it doesn't really happen unless you... I say Britain. If you go to Ireland, you'll hear it, but in England, you don't. And like Dolly and Kenny's Islands in the Stream was probably the only country music song I knew, you know, because it broke through to normal charts.
Yeah.
We hardly have any country breakthroughs into our radio play ever. And Achy Breaky Heart.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe, yeah. I love that song.
Of course you do.
But yeah, there's so few. It's massive when it breaks through. It's massive. You know, then you get Shania and she's very pop, but, you know.
It's true, actually. We get that real pop end of country, don't we? But we don't get actual country. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's huge. And then his life just goes mad. His life is crazy. He's at the Grammys sitting next to Michael Jackson and Eric Clapton going, I was living in a car a year ago. You know, this is insane.
Yeah. And then, of course, what happens quite soon as he's catapulted to worldwide scrutiny is that not only is Tish pregnant, about to give birth to Miley, actually another woman, a 23-year-old waitress, is about to give birth to another child of his.
Yeah.
I mean,
a waitress.
oh my God. And do you know what he says? He says the timing was not ideal. No kidding.
Yeah, 2 at a
The
time.
timing was not ideal, but the only plan that mattered was God's plan, and I accepted that.
Oh, good grief.
So he's completely absolving responsibility by saying it was God's doing that he impregnated 2 women at the same time.
That's really handy.
God said it in my head. He said, shag both those women. Make them pregnant. It was God. God told me to do it.
Oh, my God.
He is a bit of a
That's
wrong'un,
insane.
isn't he, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, God made him good looking.
There you go.
God's gift to women. You know, that's his gift.
Yeah.
I've got to say, right, you know how he dreamed it? He actually said he dreamed that he was going to be the Elvis of country music, the next Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
That was his dream. He kind of really ingratiated himself in with all of Elvis's musicians and an era. Like, he made really good friends with Carl Perkins,
Yeah.
who would have been Elvis because he sang Blue Suede Shoes first, didn't he?
Yes.
Until he had that car crash, and then Elvis took off without him.
Mm-hmm.
So they were really good friends, and he got the Jordanaires to sing on his album. You know, they were Elvis's backup band. He was just really in with them, and I think he sang on some Elvis special thing they did on TV. Yeah, he connected himself to them.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that Elvis thing, I think it says 4-year-old Miley Cyrus ran on stage and went and sang with every single person until she ended up on Tony Bennett's lap.
Yeah.
Like, and Carl Perkins had given her advice as well when she was a kid.
Oh, do you know what? It makes it so clear to me how Miley Cyrus,
That she had to be a star.
she's exceptional.
Yeah.
When you actually watch the bare bones of any of her performances, she is phenomenal.
Yeah, I know
In
she
her
is.
musicality and her vocalizing.
Yeah.
And then when you read this book and say, oh, when she's like 4, Waylon Jennings is in the kitchen and she comes in with her guitar and she says, oh, show me how to play this. It's like, well, of course she's amazing, because when she was a child, she was getting a masterclass, a personal masterclass by the greats.
Yes, exactly.
It makes sense, you know.
It does make sense.
But also added up with the thing that she loves the limelight and she runs on stage when her dad is performing.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
loves the audience and stuff. So,
Yeah, all of that.
yeah.
And he said
Very
he
interesting.
took her to see Mamma Mia, and she sat there in the audience and went, that's what I want to do. So then she started acting classes. Oh, so before that, he'd been sat on the mountain next to his teepee with his dad, because he'd bought a lot of land, you know, as you do, Tennessee hills. His dad had said, you should diversify like all the country stars of old, like get your own show, get on telly. And it was good advice. And he'd done guest spots on The Love Boat, and then he got a part in Mulholland Drive, David Lynch film.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
and
that.
I've seen it. I'd never
You know,
would have
you
known.
might have saw him and just thought, oh, that was Billy Ray Cyrus, but not thought anything else of it.
Yeah.
But it was David Lynch who kind of said, because Billy Ray goes to the audition thinking, well, he's not going to like me.
Yeah.
And he goes in and then is so surprised when he gets the part. And then he feels like an imposter on the set because he hasn't really acted before in the acting sense. And he's really unsure of himself. And he says that David Lynch kind of directs him a little bit. And he's just like really pleased with what he does. And he's saying to Billy Ray, you know what? I think you've got the makings of being a really good actor.
Yeah, because he's really real.
And it's so odd to read that in this book.
Yeah.
I had no clue. And to think that David Lynch rated Billy Ray Cyrus as an actor, it's like, wow.
Yeah, amazing.
But I think that's the trouble when you're known for a worldwide smash such as Achy Breaky Heart. It's all you're known for. And I don't think people imagine that you can do anything beyond that.
That's right.
I didn't, you know, I thought he was just some kind of quirky one-hit wonder country guy. And to hear that David Lynch really rated,
no.
of course he's more than that. And we know that he's an artist, he's a creative person. so-
Exactly. Yeah. So, look, that led to him being cast as the Doctor in a thing called Doc,
Yeah.
country doctor in New York City, because he's got a face for, he's got a sort of Days of Our Lives good lookingness, hasn't he?
Oh, I'm telling you, that's a clip that I watched on YouTube. I'm telling you, watch it. You'll fall in love with him.
Yeah.
He's exceptionally good looking at this stage in his life. So I totally get how people love that show.
Yeah, they'd all want him to be their doctor, I'm sure. I've no doubt.
And he's wearing jeans. He's wearing double denim. A denim
Oh,
jacket
double
jeans as a
denim.
doctor.
Irresistible.
So
So he did 5 seasons of that from 2001 to 4, 5 seasons. And he had his kids in it as well. Noah and Miley were both in it. He's got 3 kids. this point, 3 or 4 kids.
Oh, he's got more, because I think he had another one by another woman at some point as well.
Oh, blimey.
I lost count of the women.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so then Miley's about 12 when she gets an audition for Disney's Hannah Montana, but not to play Hannah. And Billy Ray was like, come off it, she's Hannah Montana. So he messaged him and said, of course she's Hannah Montana, you should be seeing her for that role. And they said, oh, we'll be interested if she plays that, if you play her dad. And he's like, I'm not going to make it conditional to that. It's if she gets it, it's on her own merit, which is good of him to say that. So they have to rewrite it to make her younger, because once they hear them sing together, they go in and Miley's like, come on, get my dad to sing I Want My Mullet Back. She's a funny song.
I Want My Mullet Back. Have you listened to it? It's so good.
Yeah, I have. It's really good. It's really good. So they sing together and they've got this great rapport, and so they both got the job. So there they are in Hannah Montana, and that really is the beginning of the next chapter, a large chapter of all of their lives.
Yeah.
That rockets. And just when he was a one-hit wonder, he's now huge in all new ways.
Yeah, because that Hannah Montana is like worldwide, isn't it? Like hugely
Yeah,
popular.
World Disney large, yeah. And they also write it in that her dad's a has-been singer and he's trying to get his career on a go again. So he sings in it as well. He's got an album out on the back of that. She's got the Hannah Montana album. She tours the world with the Hannah Montana show. And then there's a film, which I did watch at the time because I thought I should keep on top of modern culture. Loved it. You know, she's this country bumpkin and she's got this double life as a pop star. She's switching back and forth. It's so fun. It's just really good fun. It's great.
Actually, I've just remembered that when Miley was a child, like a 2-year-old, he said that she really loved like going out on the quad bike on his back.
Yeah.
And he said because she loved it so much, he would just tear around the estate. And he could hear her on his back laughing. And then he said he drove past this tree and there was a branch and he ducked down and then heard this massive thwack. And he's like, oh no, I've got Miley on my back.
Yeah, right.
And he quickly got off and he said she'd hit her head and she was bleeding. He thought the impact was enough to take her head off. Anyway, he thought he'd like properly damaged her. Took her back home, but he said that she was laughing within 5 minutes. And then there's another bit where about a year later, he takes her out at midnight at the top of the hill and she's so full of energy and she runs around and she trips over a tree root, massively smacks her head again to the point where she's bleeding. And she's just laughing about it. And the way, you know, we always talk almost every week now about the energy that certain people have to become massively successful. I think that Miley Cyrus, I think Billy Ray has it. He's always up to something. Yeah. But I think Miley is almost like a concentrated version of Billy Ray. It's just like from the moment she was born, she was almost like an extreme sports enthusiast.
Yeah,
not caring when she gets hurt. And then the second her dad's on stage, she's running on stage to be in the spotlight.
Yes.
She was born to be a worldwide superstar. She's just
she really was. And he says, you know, I really tried to be part dad and part friend, which is what my dad was to me. So he's treated her like a boy. You know what I mean? He's not, in fact, that's wrong to say it. He's not defined her at all as a girl or a boy. He's just treated her like a person, which is absolutely ideal. So she's been brought up to be free and to be able to be anything she wants to be. And she sort of turned into her dad because her dad was wild. Her dad smoked pot. You know, her dad got into trouble with the police and was a musician. And she's all of that. She's done all the drugs.
Yeah, and he says, do you know what? It's hard to reprimand her because he says, when I was 16, I was doing bongs and stuff. It's just that I wasn't famous and there wasn't the internet.
Exactly.
And there wasn't camera phones and stuff. So, yeah.
There weren't cameras all the time.
So he can't because he did it himself.
You know, Dolly Parton is Miley Cyrus's godmother, and he only mentions her once when he says a newspaper reported that they were having an affair with each other. He'd never even met her. So he went, because he was having to play with her, he went to her trailer or whatever, knocked on the door and said, oh, hi, Dolly. Just want to apologise about this article. And she went, oh, shut up, that shit sells records. And that's how they first met. And he doesn't say anymore, but you know and I know that they obviously became such good friends that he made her Miley's godmother, you know, because they often talk about each other and they've sung together now, haven't they, and stuff.
Yeah.
So talk about role models, and she's going to go through it, but she's going to come out strong because she's amazing. She is amazing.
Do you know what? I've done a bit of extracurricular reading on the Cyruses, and of course, Miley is not their only child, right? There's also Noah, there's Brazen, and there's a couple of other kids. See, this is terrible that I'm just saying a couple of other kids, because their complaint is that all of the attention was focused on Miley.
Oh, wow.
And they felt very left behind and very ignored when they were children.
Oh, wow.
And they're musical as well, so I think it must be incredibly hard to have been in the shadow of like the worldwide superstar. Now, Miley herself is very close to her siblings, or was until some recent developments. So I think they still had a good relationship between themselves, but I think there's some resentment.
Interesting.
To mum and dad because they focused on Miley. Yeah.
Yes, because like you said about those stories of her cracking her head and stuff, he doesn't mention a single story about any of the others.
No.
Not one.
No, he doesn't.
No, most of these books, they do designate a little, at least paragraph or even a chapter to each kid. But not this one. Oh, no.
Do you know what, though? And I won't go into it now because we've run out of time, but going online and reading about the Cyrus's family dramas of the last couple of years is really quite something.
Oh.
It's like an opera or a soap
Is
opera
it?
all of its own making. Yeah, because him and Tish actually got divorced and then they retracted it. And then a few years ago, they properly got divorced. And then Billy Ray got married to a woman called Firehose or something who was actually in Hannah Montana with Miley.
Yeah.
And I thought they were still together, but that marriage lasted about a year. And now he's seeing Liz Hurley.
Interesting.
And I think, right, I'm ahead of you reading books, but the next book we're going to read, Liz Hurley figures in it. And she sounds like one of the nicest people ever.
Oh,
so
good.
The fact that she's with Billy Ray actually she's nobody's fool, Liz Hurley.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And it kind of makes me think actually Billy Ray is not that bad because at the moment the Cyrus women are really going for him in the press.
Oh.
Like saying what a terrible, terrible person he is. But I think it's because he married this younger woman when he was still...
Right.
He's been double dipping it his whole life, hasn't he? What would
Yeah.
you expect? Do you know what? Tish knew at the time that he had impregnated another woman when he impregnated her with Miley. So 20 years later, you can't say, oh, he's sleeping around.
Yes.
Because it's what God wanted.
Oh, my God.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Thrift Shop Biography. We love making this podcast and we're absolutely thrilled that so many of you are already listening. You could really help us out by leaving us a review somewhere, wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you could share us, tell your friends about us, or drop some links on social media. We have a Facebook page called Thrift Shop Biography, so make sure you come over there to hear about the episodes first and what else we're up to. Okay, see you next week. And if you're new here, there are loads more episodes now to go and listen in the back catalogue, so make sure you go and enjoy them. Okay, thank you very much.